Hello and welcome, I'm Nate542 and this is my home server. Okay, so as you can see here, I've got an iLO 4 for my home server. If you go into the server, we can just log in and you can see it's a ProLiant DL360p Gen 8 and you know, it's an okay server, definitely for a home setting. It's a little bit louder than I expected, I guess, but it does have redundant fans. It has 6 fans in sequence. It's a pretty good server. Just to talk about the server for a little bit anyway, it has redundant power supplies. It is a very big server. In fact, it is a rack mount server, so it is something that you would really find kind of in a professional setting. So this is what it looks like, and yeah, so from the front, as you can see, it is a normal server. It's pretty deep as well, so you know it's the real deal. It has 2 processors, obviously 2 Xeon processors. I'll get into that in a sec anyway, but yeah, as you can see here, I did a fan mod on this as well to try and keep the fans so they don't max out. The max they can go to, I think, is 53%, and that is where the noise level gets a little bit annoying. So hopefully, no matter what happens with this system, as long as it has a half decent air intake from a fairly cold temperature, it should be able to keep the system at a good temperature. And you can check in here actually as well. It has different temperatures sensors throughout the whole system. As you can see here, it's reading 16 centigrade on the input, which is actually pretty low. My house is pretty cold at the moment. Yeah, and that's under the stairs with the door open, because I keep the door very slightly open for it. What I'll end up doing is probably put in a little bit of a like a grill or something like that in the top of the door, just to allow the air to flow in and out, and hopefully then we'll be able to leave the door closed and do all that. At the moment it's not in a rack, so once it's in a rack it might actually be a bit better for airflow, because obviously the air will come from the front to the back and then hopefully up over the rack, which would be towards the bottom of the stairs. So it'll be kind of like an arch, which will then bring it up towards the door, if you can kind of picture that in your head. So the thing that we're having trouble to cool down is the HD controller here, which is the hard drive controller. It's this little thing over here. Now inside I did strap a fan to it. I've done loads of different research and stuff online to see how things work with this. I strapped a fan to it to try and assist the heatsink. I don't know if that worked. I don't know if that will help. But it's there, and I can't be asked to open it up again to take it out to test it without, because I did the airflow mod, the fan mod, sorry, since I've installed that. So I went for fairly low power CPUs for this server. So at the moment it's currently using 257 watts. It has redundant power still. And yeah, I mean, they're both 750 watt power supplies, so if one dies, the other one's still there. We won't lose power. And it is also hooked up to a UPS, uninterruptible power supply. So even if it did lose power, it should still be able to power itself through one of the power supplies on the UPS, hopefully. I don't know if it can actually hold the full load that is required. It might only last a couple of minutes, but I mean, power cuts here usually don't really last very long, and they're very rare anyway, so that's fine by me, I guess. And yeah, so here we have the processors. So yeah, it's 2 Xeon E5s, 2650 V2s, clocked in at 2.6 gigahertz, 8 core processors, 16 threads, 64-bit, with a nice amount of cache, and they are also only 95 watts a processor, which means that they're fairly low power usage compared to the other ones that you can get for this machine anyway. On the memory, we got 12 sockets, but we don't have them all filled up just yet. We've got a total of 24 per CPU, which gives us a grand total of 48 gigabytes. Operational frequency is 1333 megahertz, which, I mean, it doesn't sound like very well. It doesn't sound like great, but you know, it's fine. It's fine for what we're doing. And also you got RDIMM as well, so it's all registered memory, registered ECC RAM, which is great. It means that it's well, it just means it's better, I guess, than normal RAM. Now, if I skip network, because you don't need to know that type of stuff, we'll go on to device inventory, and what we have here is the cards and stuff that are connected. So most of it's empty or unknown. There's 2 unknown things in here. I don't know what this one actually is. We have the HP Ethernet 2 port SFP Plus adapter, which allows super fast fiber connections into the machine. And then also there is a card which has 4 Ethernet connections. So you can connect 4 Ethernet connections into that as well. I've just recently acquired a switch which has SFP, not Plus, I don't think, just standard SFP ports. I'm hoping that will allow me to do faster transfers through the network, but I've not actually set that up yet. That's something for another day. But once I've got that set up, hopefully it'll all be good. Looking onto storage, yep, it just says smart array, that kind of stuff. Yeah, cool. Firmware, this is the firmware we're running. Nothing too important there, but obviously we did downgrade the iLO. I think it was downgraded to 273 so that we can install the fan controller. Software, no software. Cool. Everything else on here not that interesting. We do have remote console. So if you go to this, you got HTML5 integrated remote console. So we can go onto here, and this is actually what is going on through the software that's running. So this is I think the easiest way to think of this would be this thing here, the iLO 4, is something that runs the server. So from here, I can actually go down to power management, server power, and I can turn the server on or off. It has graceful power off, forced system reset, all that kind of stuff. All that good, cool stuff. And you can virtual media, so you can insert a virtual CD, all that kind of stuff into the server from here. Very cool, very useful, especially if you need to check on a PC that's remote, and you don't have screens and stuff set up. You can go into here, you can go remote console. Oh, I want to see what's going on with it, see what the errors are. Click on this one, and then you can see the errors that are flashing up and all that kind of stuff. Or just is really cool, and it will show you like the power meter. This is the kind of power that it's been using, 20 minutes over, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's useful information to have, I would say. But I mean, this is just the iLO. I mean, this is what pretty much every server like this would have. So yeah, we'll move on to the more interesting stuff here. So we'll go to TrueNAS. If there's anything you want to know about the iLO, then do let me know, and I will see if there's anything I can grab from that or anything I can do. So this is a little bit different to how my last server was set up. If you remember that one, it had 8 gigabytes of memory. This one has 47. It had 2 processors. Sorry, I didn't have 2 processors. It had 2 cores, 1 processor. No hyperthreading. So yeah, literally just these 2 down here, and that was it. At the moment, it shows you the highest usage, it shows you the hottest cores, it shows you how many cores, and that's very good to know, especially on a machine like this, which is quite powerful. So we have the storage over here as well. So I didn't actually mention this before, I don't think, but it has 12 3 terabyte drives in it, which brings it to a roundabout total of, as it says here, it's got 19 plus 2 terabytes. And it is wrong, because currently 3 times 12, as far as I remember, is not 24. I think it's like 36 or something like that. So what we've done here is actually created 2 I think they call it VDevs. So we have RAID Z2 and a RAID Z2 running, I guess, essentially in RAID 1 because they're both holding the same data. So what happens here is we have two RAIDs, and it allows you to just transfer files to it quicker. So yeah, I think if you watch Linus Tech Tips or whatever, that kind of setup will essentially help prevent the issues that Linus Tech Tips was having, which is where, oh god, where did I find it? There it is. Status, which is where like two of these drives died on the same one, which is bad, but still recoverable. On the other one, 2 or 3 of them had died as well, which is really bad. Yeah, you don't really want that to happen. But yeah, that's how that works. That's really cool. That's yeah, that's that. So obviously you have the share setup, and I don't know if you guys have like a set way on how you like to organize things. I've been trying to work it out for me, and yeah, I think for me it just kind of works in this way. Now test is obviously just a test thing. I'll probably get rid of that at some point in the future. We have software, media, documents, and archive. Archive is obviously for old stuff, which we don't really want to use anymore, but feel like we need to keep. Documents is for live documents. Media is for any kind of media. So I've got even like I've got books, cartoons, films, anime, photos, that kind of stuff in there as well, and wallpapers, and then software, which is for well, I just like software, you know, virtual machines as well, anything that's kind of like software based, which I guess could be anything, but you know, which is really why I've been finding it hard to organize all this data, is because there's so many different ways you can do it. So yeah, if you go into software, you got app data, which is for my server apps. You got applications, which is for creative emulation, games, system utility, and then you got virtual machines, which is different actual virtual machines you can go into. Yeah, basically what we can do right now is a lot more than what we could previously do because of the extra firepower that we have behind it. We can set up virtualization. So I've got a Manjaro set up here. So I mean, you can set up different virtual machines for different things in here, and if you prefer to run your applications through a virtual machine, you can do it that way as well, just to add an extra layer of protection between you and your data, I guess. I was considering doing all of my Docker stuff through it this way, but I didn't end up doing it that way in the end. I was considering using Manjaro on here and then setting up a Docker and then having all of my stuff, like the Jellyfin, Nextcloud, Ubooquity, all that kind of stuff going through this virtual machine just to keep it separate from the TrueNAS scale, because then I can back up this virtual machine, which, you know, you can have, I think through here, maybe not then, you can have backups. You can just copy and paste backups from the virtual machine, all that kind of stuff. So under apps, what have I used under the apps? I think I've used 2 apps, and you'll see in a second when it actually does load. Yeah, so we have NC1, which is Nextcloud 1, obviously, and Collabora. If you go available applications, you can see these are the ones that are available right now. So if you want to have Plex installed, you can just click on install and it'll install Plex. There's loads of cool stuff out there. IPFS, whatever that is, I've never heard of that before, but I mean, it sounds kind of cool. You have, so that for the installed applications that we have, Collabora allows you through Nextcloud to use the Word and all that kind of stuff, like Word, Excel type applications through there. It's basically OpenOffice, I believe, but for your system. So Nextcloud will just call to it, and you need to know exactly where it's set up so that you can do all that in the background. But yeah, basically I've got that all set up now, and if you look at Docker images here, you can see We have a few different ones set up on here now. We have Jellyfin, we have Ubooquity, we've got Nextcloud, we've got Nginx, we've got Code Server, and we've got qBittorrent, which I've not got around to setting up yet. We've also got Collabora Code, and Home Assistant. So loads of really cool stuff on here. If we go into System Settings Shell, I will get up the full Docker. So if you guys don't know already, installing software on here through Docker is actually really simple and straightforward as well. And it's also built straight into it. So you can do Docker PSA and that will show you all images, or you can do Docker PS and that will show you the live ones. But it definitely does make it work if you just need it temporarily. Now, the other things that we do have as well, as you can see here, is Jellyfin. Now I have a domain name that's set up through Cloudflare, which allows you to essentially reverse proxy all of the things that you would want to host on your home server. So I have a website set up, which is this one here. Now I don't really want to give away too much information about the website that is set up and stuff like that, so a lot of this stuff's going to be blurred. But we'll say we have the server here. If you go onto this one, as you can see here, it's verified by Let's Encrypt. It's a fully legit server that is, encrypted. And the same goes for Nextcloud. My Nextcloud is a fully encrypted server on nextcloud.home.myserver.com. And as you can see here, everything seems to be working nicely. So we can go to files, and you can see the files that we have on the server. There's still not very much. Like I'm still in the testing phase for it a lot. So I've got my mail stuff and other notes and deck and stuff like that set up as well. So notes I think was a free app. Deck I think was a paid app on your mobile, but it interfaces perfectly with this. And that's for Nextcloud. Another one that I use is this, which is Ubooquity. There's not a huge amount that you can do on this other than just read through books and comics. So if I just go on books real quick. So say I've bought a book, I can go on here. What book did I buy? Fully charged. You can actually open the book, you can go read now. And you can use your arrow keys just to go through the pages. And yeah, there you go. It works nicely, and it holds all your books and you can view them from anywhere. I've not actually set this as an outside one, and it's not, as you can see up here, it's not encrypted. It's not secured connection. But that can be done, I believe. I just need to figure out how to do the reverse proxy through Nginx, but yeah, I think it can be done. The next one I've got is Home Assistant. Now, Home Assistant, so far as what I can tell, cannot be accessed from outside the network. There's probably ways that you can make it so that you can force it to work from outside the network, but at the moment it's not set to do that, and I think that's probably for the best because it does have a lot of different things that you can connect to. Like here you can see it connects to Octoprint, so you can see what's printing and stuff like that. You can see the job percentage, all that kind of stuff, and because this can also connect to screens, it can connect to energy, so you can find what your consumption is and all that kind of stuff. It will also allow you to show this in different ways. Now I'll need like a whole load of time to show you how to use any of the stuff on this, and I also need to learn a lot of the stuff on this as well because I'm not hugely knowledgeable about it. But yeah, it's a very, very flexible program, Home Assistant, which allows you to do loads of different cool stuff, and I'll leave that there. The website, which is this one, is actually a web server hosted by me with my my local website, which allows me to kind of just display websites. It's just a web server. It is encrypted. This one is verified by Cloudflare, so this one is actually reverse proxied and also hidden the IP address and that kind of stuff, so that's very useful. And yeah, it all works really well. I can show you how to do that through Nginx if you want to learn how to do reverse proxying. It's quite complicated. It would take well, when you're getting started, it's quite complicated. But once you get used to it and find out how to do it, it makes it a lot easier, and it does make a lot more sense then as well about how great Nginx really is. So next up, we got code. So this is Code Server. I just thought this would be kind of cool to download and install, but what it basically is it's code that you can run on your own PC, but you can run it over your web server now. So instead of having to install code on your PC, on your Linux, on your Mac, and then, you know, having to set up different areas where you save the code, all that kind of stuff, you can do that all in one place on the internet here. So, I mean, you can set it up. I think you can do different codes and stuff in this as well. So you can actually do Python, and you can do, yeah, you can. Yeah, see. So down here, you can see that there's Python, IntelliSense as well. So you can have it so that it automatically completes stuff. You can just install little scripts like that. And now when you go into here, you'll be able to set up Python and use Python scripts. You can also have it so that it will compile stuff for you. So you can install one for C++, you can install one for HTTP. Not that you compile HTTP because it's a markup language, but yeah, you know what I mean. And it just keeps everything in a nice, easy online work area, which is cool because in the future I might be using something like this in one of my projects. And now I'm just going to show you how you can find a very big cache of really cool software like this, and it's through a website called linuxserver.io. Now linuxserver.io will take you to this page here, and what this does is it has an absolutely huge amount of cool software images that you can get. And you just scroll down on the side over here, you have loads of different things. So like Beats, whatever that is, it's a music library manager, and not for the most part a music player. You know, this is cool different software that you can install onto your Docker. And if you scroll down here, you can see the usage. So if you use Docker Compose, you can just copy and paste this script. If you use for command line like I do, you can copy and paste this one, and add or remove a couple of little bits from it. But yeah, I mean, it has tons and tons of different cool stuff on here that you can use on your server. So you got MB stat, you got Firefox. So what I was saying about Code Server, say you wanted a web browser. I mean, this one's kind of weird because you'd have to open it inside a web browser. But if you wanted that standardized web browser that would be the exact same on whatever system you're using, this can be a way of getting that accomplished for you, which is cool. It's got a HBridge, which is for Philips Hue API to, and I think that helps you use it with Home Assistant. Yeah. So it helps you use the Philips Hue stuff with Home Assistant, which is cool. IPFS, which I think we saw on the other one. I want to look into this because it sounds interesting. I don't know if maybe it's just like one of these things that's just, you know, a bit overhyped or whatever, but I say that I never heard of it before. But yeah, I mean, you got that, you got Lazy Librarian, you got Libra Speed, you got Lychee, Mind Test, which is a Minecraft alternative, MySQL. You know, there's some really great things on here. Nginx, Nextcloud, Netbox, OSCam. There was a really cool one here for storing your CCTV footage, which is one that I want to get at some point in the future. I want to get CCTV cameras, all that kind of stuff. You can just hook it up through the network and then hook one of these things up and it'll just record. And just loads of cool stuff like that. There's tons of stuff on here. And then also, there's a different place you can go to that for that kind of stuff, and that's Docker Hub. And yeah, so one of the main things that I want to look at next is Bitwarden. So Bitwarden is a web vault for your passwords and other encrypted information that you want to keep pretty secure. You can host your own bitwarden web server because it is fully open source software. It's 100% open source software. You can find the entire code base on GitHub. Now that's pretty cool. I mean, what that means is I can install bitwarden server, and I will be able to just set it up and use it as if I had my own bitwarden server. So instead of having to connect to a third-party big company that hosts your stuff, e.g. a cloud, I can connect to my own web server at home through a secure connection, potentially through a VPN, which also tunnels it directly to keep it secure, and have it done that way instead, which will be extra secure. And yeah, I think that's about it. I've gone through a lot of stuff this time. There is quite a bit of stuff there. If anyone wants me to go through anything else in more detail, because obviously this is just more of a broad spectrum of stuff that's on my home server now, let me know. I would love to talk file configurations with you guys, and how I organize my folders and files and stuff. I'm guessing a lot of people probably won't be that interested in that, but I mean, it interests me quite a bit because obviously it's ease of access, and it just helps clear my mind of where things would and should be, which is always really great to do. I like things to have their own space, and for that space to be respected. But yeah, other than that, I showed you through a lot of different stuff. I'll probably will do a video on Nginx reverse proxying for TrueNAS scale, because obviously TrueNAS scale is it doesn't really show you how to do that kind of stuff just yet, but it's really cool stuff that you probably should or probably would want to do, because it's helps you keep it encrypted and all that kind of stuff. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and anything. Follow me on Twitter, that's @Nicholas42, and thanks for watching.